now that we're on the topic of articling, what are some ways that articling students can assert boundaries in the workplace and ensure a healthy work-life balance? I know from speaking to students who have articled, they describe articling as, you know, just a tremendous amount of work where you're working all day, every day. And I think a lot of students want to know how we can kind of ensure like a healthy work-life balance so that it doesn't take over your life. And I was just wondering what you guys had to say in response to that. Maybe Priya, you can answer this one.
I didn't have that much of a problem, but I would say don't be afraid to talk about structuring your work hours that make it more, more convenient for you. It is important to have that balance. And this is kind of uniform across all law practice, but the most important thing is to get the job done within the required timeline. So so I think you need to set reasonable expectations, or they need to do that. So I think, planning ahead and so on, but I think just don't be afraid to talk about that. But at the same time, if it is like overwhelming deadlines, then I understand. But yeah, I think there needs to be realistic deadlines and not be afraid to talk about what those are.
Do you think of articling students who have these unrealistic deadlines, well, how do you think that they should approach these conversations with their employers? I know this is a very difficult and abstract question, but it's one of the questions that I think a lot of, at least law students that I've spoken to, had.
I think any conversation, I think it's better when it's direct and not just through an email or a message. And that would be my approach, to have a frank conversation.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Let me see what other questions some of us had. So I actually have a list of questions that were prepared by a group of law students. And one question they had was, what are some tips you can provide for students looking to find an articling position next summer? So tips in terms of what kind of placements that people should be looking for, or just how to get the position that you ideally want.
I would say start networking now, if you haven't done so already. Get to know a lot of maybe if you have a certain firm that you want to get into, try to reach out to a few lawyers at the firm. Have maybe ask them, I know now with COVID, I don't know what the situation is for going out for coffee, but even just through email, have that introduction email exchanged. If you are looking for like a particular area of law that you want to article in, I think that networking is even more important, but also be open-minded to the fact that you're keeping your areas of law open during articling, because I think that was the most important thing. I did not take my own advice, and I did go into articling in family law, although I told myself, I'll do everything. I did a little bit of immigration during my articling, but my main focus was family law, and I knew it even before I started, like maybe second year of law school. I decided I wanted to do family law. But I know a lot of other students that I've spoken to, I've given them that advice of just being open to any area of law and starting the networking as soon as possible, reaching out to a few lawyers. And yeah, I think that's it. Just that way you're introduced to a few people, like even if that person that you reach out to doesn't have a posting, I think they'll always connect you to somebody else. Like I've had that good experience of lawyers connecting you to someone else who might know someone or might have a position open. So I think just reach out to many lawyers, or even articling students and law students, other summer students, just reaching out to people, I would say.